Podcast starts at 19 seconds.
And this will probably be like one of those outcuts. Take two. Behind the scenes.
No, I'll keep this shit in. This so people can learn why you don't do shit like this. Welcome back to a new episode of Fit the Description, a Black Men's podcast where various Black men come together to talk about life, society, entertainment, culture, news, and whatever else we want to talk about from various Black men's perspectives. I'm your host, G, and today we got Adam.
Hey.
And people may start commenting throughout the podcast, so we'll see what happens. So on your way in, make sure to like, subscribe, share, let your peoples know about us. Make sure to follow on all the other platforms. And there's a couple of things I want to say before we actually get started with the podcast, especially while we're trying to wait for more people to come in. So I'm going to say this because I didn't keep it in the last podcast, but I'll say it here. It's that this episode, we're actually officially back. Now, last episode, we actually recorded in January just to make sure that we can have a podcast ready basically when we come back. And now in February, we're actually recording a podcast now that we're officially back. But the thing is, and I just want to let y'all know going forward, well, not really going forward, but for probably the rest of this month, all the way up until probably the mid of March, most likely either this podcast and either the next podcast or the next two podcasts will probably be all recorded in February, because I just found out that I'm probably going to have to leave town for maybe about 2 weeks. So I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks. So we're going to record everything early. And I only want to put that out there only because if there's some stuff that happens or some big stuff that happens and we don't talk about it or don't cover it, that's pretty much the reason why. It's because we're basically just not here right now. So that's why, as we're recording this podcast, we're probably going to go ahead and record a couple of podcasts. That's what we're going to do. Also, I do want to talk about a few.
From the police.
What'd you say?
I said you sound like you're trying to run from the police.
So we did make a few changes. I didn't make all the changes that I wanted to make because I wound up having to work on other stuff. So there's a lot of upgrades I wanted to do to the channel. I actually wanted to, get a new design, but things didn't really happen. So, I mean, nothing to be mad about, but things happen, life happens. So I wasn't able to make all the changes that I wanted to, but there are a few I want to tell you about real quick. And the first one I want to tell you about is that if you're on YouTube, so when I first made the podcast here on YouTube, when they actually included podcasts, I split it up into season 1, season 2, season 3. And I guess you're not really supposed to do that. I'm not sure, but I think that's what it is. I think you're supposed to put it all in one. So what we did now, moving forward, we now have the season 4 of the podcast. So now you can look at each podcast by seasons. And now we put the entire podcast into one big, huge, podcast area. So you get all the chapters from episode 1 till now in a big, huge, what's it called? In a big, huge playlist. So that's one change that we did make moving forward. And there's not too many other changes. Other thing is the Patreon. I think I explained this before, but the Patreon, we're not really going to focus on that right now. We do have a Patreon, so if you want to support it, you can check that out, but we don't have much content on there. I know I have scheduled that me and B are supposed to do an exclusive podcast on there, or at least one episode of it. So there is content on there, but understand we're not really going to support it like that until we get bigger. So that's something else. And also, which I think I did say it in the last podcast, that make sure you comment down below, because we are trying to build this community and trying to build this brand. And if you comment, depending on each speaker, because each speaker's, they can do what they want. I'll just host it. But if you do comment down below, understand one or three things will happen. One, we may, I won't say we will, but we may read your comment, especially right now. We don't really have a big audience. We may read your comment on the podcast. Second, if it's good enough, we may make it a topic. And third, it depends on each individual person. But if they want to, we may have you come on the OPN channel and have a conversation with one of us, depending on what the person themselves wants to do. So be aware of that. So that just give you some incentives, because again, we're trying to, we want to build this community. We want to get the conversation going. We have goals that we would like to achieve. And don't get me wrong, I am happy to be back. And yeah, with that being said, I just want to give you those quick little updates. And let's go ahead and move on to episode 71. Oh, you do Apple Pay?
No, because I forget my card or I gotta do Apple Pay. Because most of the places I go, they take it. But I'm in Home Depot and I could have sworn they took it. Or maybe it's just this store that doesn't do it.
Yeah, I've never done none of that. I've never done Apple Pay or anything. I always just stick with card because I don't know. I have an issue with my stuff being on my phone or on the computer. That's just kind of like, I don't know, a little nerve-wracking to me.
See, I was like that at first, but then it was the fact of the matter that I just didn't have my card with me and I didn't want to keep using the credit card. So I just put it in.
Hmm.
And instead of giving her money or doing whatever, it's kind of like, all right, just take this because it's this amount. And it was just easier.
Yeah.
But, I do understand. I do understand that, in case it happens, but they would have to either know your password and on top of knowing your password to your phone, they would need to know the PIN to your debit card because even though you scan it, you still got to put in the PIN. Um, in most places, some places are, where you just put in your debit card and sometimes you don't got to put it in PIN in general.
Man, I just got done literally watching a video. Now, mind you, I may get this wrong, so I may be a little wrong with this, but I just got done watching a video about a brand new hack that just came out through Google, where I guess if you reset your password, and again, I may be wrong. Basically, I guess when you reset your password, I guess somehow they're able to get their hands on that. And so when you reset your password, it's like a new hack where I guess hackers go in and I guess they see a piece of the code, they take that code and get into all your stuff.
Now, if you're a hacker, I can see that, more probable of someone being able to take your information from your phone through the code that they see, or decipher it. But, you know, just just as a regular person like you and me who doesn't really know the internal workings of coding, I don't
Mhm.
think that we would be able to get in and do that unless we just had an app and the app did it for us.
Yeah, but that would never have nothing to do with us. I mean, because like we're the people who people would do it to us. You know what I'm saying? Well, okay, I
Yeah,
said that
but
wrong.
I mean, we can use the app that might allow us to just automatically read the code and give us the information we need. But as a person just reading the code and knowing what the code means and where all that stuff, no.
All right, this is my question. How do you feel about that there's a chance? 'Cause this is why I'm kind of freaked out about it is, people taking your data and it's just doing what they want with it. And I only bring this up because I was looking at doing like the ancestor test so you could look at, who you're from. But I guess there's a story out there. I probably should look it up. But I guess there's a story out there of what's called, I guess the FBI were looking at somebody and they were able to find out who they were through their ancestor test. And I'm like, I don't know if I like them getting my DNA. I mean, they probably do have my information, but still, I don't really like people who I don't want having access to my DNA and my information like that. So that's why I'm always kind of like nervous on like doing like the Apple Pay or anything that's like through an app and not with something physical.
Yeah, yeah, I believe that because when you sign up for those services, you're giving them permission to use your information for other individuals who may be using that too, and you might be related to them. As far as like ancestry for specific people, as far as other things where it goes like you're just trying to find out like what your percentage nationality is, I don't really think that they would be able to pull that much information from you or other people unless you used your real name and your real address. Then the FBI was looking for you and they found you that way. But you still give your permission to allow third parties to have access for that company to use your information for third parties in order to render services that you're actually trying to use from them. So it's kind of like it's a pro and a con at the same time, but it depends on like I mean like no one knows kind of like in the future like what crime a person may commit 5 years from now. So you might want to be wary, especially if you're still living at the same address. But, you know, just for your general like person, me and you, who I doubt that we're going to go out and commit a crime or do something where FBI police are going to be looking for us. You know, it's kind of like, well, I want to know the information, and I don't necessarily have the ability to find that information out on my own. So I'll
Well,
render your
it's
service.
not even just necessarily about, you know, doing a crime. Like, you know, I mean, I don't know, 'cause I mean, this was years ago. I don't know if you heard about the one dude who has to walk around with papers for his entire life because I guess the guy, when he was a kid, his dad took his social numbers and just did whatever he wanted and just bought all this stuff and put everything in his name. By the time the dude became an adult, his life was basically ruined.
Yeah, I don't know people per se like that, like personal, but I know a couple people who told me that, you know, their parents use their social security number, you know, for like bills, to put like you know, utilities in their name and whatnot, or, you know, to get certain things. Um, and they
Yeah,
said it was
but
like,
no, but my point is the fact that, like, you know, putting your information out there and people getting access to it. That's why I said it doesn't have to necessarily do with being.
oh,
It doesn't necessarily have to do with being a crime. It's just that having your information, your stuff out there, people could do whatever they want with it, and you don't know what they do with it. And I think that's the scary part. Or it could be used to kind of screw you up.
it could be, but I mean, the only possible way that would happen is if there were a data leak. And I mean, to be honest, there's data leaks happening every so often now, even
Yeah,
with
that's what I'm
these
saying. That's
big
always daily. So I don't know what you're talking
companies.
about.
But I mean, like that's the possibility of it happening. You know, like you have people that get their data from, you know, like that new thing that happened not that long ago between I think it was MGM, and then there was another credit company I think who you know, you don't even really give permission for them to use it. It was kind of like that's your credit, and you know they have access to it because they're a credit company. So regardless on you giving people permission to do this or not, it's still recorded based off of like, you know, ordinary things that you get, like a cell phone, your car, you know, things with the credit card, the debit card, things like that. So even if it's not the company per se, that the data will be leaked from, it's the company that they report to with your information that could result from the having the data be leaked. So it's kind of like, I think it's kind of like a lottery. Like your data could be leaked from a company itself. Your data could be leaked from a company that they report to, or you know, your data could be leaked from a program that you decided that you wanted to try. So I kind of like a gamble. I believe that your data is going to be compromised at least some point in your life anyway, because
Yeah.
it's just going to happen.
Exactly. Like, have you ever noticed when, like, you look up stuff, like you look at your email, they send you things that pertain to you? Like, how do they have this information?
Oh, Google.
Mm,
Yeah, Google definitely.
yeah,
You
that's
know,
what. Actually, no, I think
even
I
if they
heard.
don't,
Go
even
ahead.
if
Go
they
ahead.
don't have your information per se, again, you know, these companies, these websites that you might go to, they get your IP address and they sell your information. You know, not all the time legally, because they'll ask you, you know, but sometimes illegally, you know, and then Google will get it and they'll try and sell you things that you're searching. And if, you know, it gets to a point, just like regular businesses do, like if you sell your business, you're not going to just keep your clientele. You're going to sell your little black book of clients too, you know, to them. So that way they can get in relationship with you. You know, it might cost you extra to buy that, but that's something that you can buy, you know, just from buying a business. And it doesn't even need to be a big business. It can be like you know, like you decide that you're going to be cleaning cars and you have a little black book of people that you normally go to. You call them up or whatever, you know. So their information, and it's not personal information like that, but it's like the name, the phone number, and the address.
Yeah.
That's pretty personal though.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I just have a thing where, like, I know I feel like it's too late. I mean, I think they already have our information, but I just have a thing about making it easier for them to get my information, which again, I don't think it's that hard. I think it's pretty easy. Especially if you know what you're doing. Especially
Is
like you said, you're talking to us. But
that why you use the alias? G?
hey, man, it's the benefit of being black, man.
You said it's the benefit.
Absolutely. There's one thing
Hey,
I love
man,
about being black that we all have aliases. I love it.
we all have. I don't even know what my alias is. It's my name.
Oh no, I remember what it was.
I can tell you right now that I'm the only black dude named Adam, probably within the tri-state area.
I could probably agree with that. I don't know too
Yeah,
many black guys who are named Adam.
yeah. So I'm probably thinking people might think that my real name is a nickname. So I'll take that.
I don't think so. I
Well,
don't.
that's because you know me. But if you introduce me to somebody that they didn't that never knew me, and you said your name was G, and you said, "Oh, this is Adam," they'd probably be like, "Oh, that's a nickname. He's the first or something." What do you do?
Hey man, I made my nickname work. I don't care what anybody says.
You did. You did.
Exactly.
That's because you put two extra letters behind the one letter.
Well, I want to make sure that people don't confuse me with a gangster. I ain't one of those. Well,
I mean, if you just said G, well, no, you'd be the only people that can be confused with you are the people who wouldn't be able to read who are illiterate. They just be like G, like the letters.
yeah. Or I probably shouldn't say this, but no, I ain't gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that.
Don't incriminate yourself. The feds are listening.
Yeah, that's what they say. Hey man, you should have saw me on the first podcast where we were talking about some real political stuff, and then everything on my side got shut down.
What? Wait, what happened?
Yeah, earlier on the podcast before you even we were part of it, like at the beginning, we were talking about a topic, and then all of a sudden, like my end of things just like shut down.
Oh yeah, they weren't playing with you. They said you talking about what? Nah, nah. We can't have you talking about this.
But anyways, man, how you been though? We've been gone for about a month, at least in the podcast world, man. What has changed within the month? Why don't you give people an update?
I've been trying to relax because I had a month off of school, so I double my classes. So I've been trying to kind of like just be like, I can relax for a while, but that really didn't happen like that.
Well, yeah, because you have almost what a full NBA team.
Yeah, I
One
don't
more,
get no
Adam. I need
breaks.
one more, man.
I'm good, man. That's not happening. Nope, we're gonna make damn sure that's not happening.
I tell the story all the time. My grandfather said, I ain't having no more kids. I'm done. Thank God he was 110% wrong because I wouldn't have been here.
I think it might have been a half and half, like half his fault, half his grandmother's fault. So, yeah,
Hey,
we can
it's
chop
the
it up
greatest.
to that.
Hey, I put it like this: if it's an accident, it's the greatest accident to ever happen.
Accident. It was a purposeful accident.
Shoot.
Shoot, I might have been an accident. I don't even know. No one knows really. You only know what your parents tell you. Imagine,
Uh,
hey, was I an accident? No. You was a wonderful gift on purpose. And then behind closed doors, they'd be like, man, yeah, I just didn't pull out.
I mean, okay? Do you want me? I mean, since we're talking about this, do you want me to bring up one really effed up point?
What's that? That half the population probably going to be here if that wasn't the case.
I'm probably not gonna argue with that,
Yeah.
but no, that's not what I was gonna say. So this is something who I talked to somebody about this, like I want to say last year, and I don't know if it's true or not. There's nothing like backing it. There's no research to it, but somebody brought it up and they said, and it's probably true with a lot of us, is that there is a chance the reason why I'm here is because one of my ancestors was assaulted before I was on this planet.
I can agree with that. I think we all think about that, at least when we get older. I mean, learn more about our past history as a people and a
I don't think
culture.
I ever thought about that till the conversation came up.
Well, I think that, yeah, no, I automatically knew that was the case with some, but you don't know. You don't
It's that.
know until, so I know of a person who actually, has some family who is able to trace or remember, not based off of a test, but based off of like history, family history that was told to them. So I
Oh, well, who
do
went
know
through
that
who went through that? Like who knows for a fact that that happened?
that was like a person's a great 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 grandfather um, who told them that, and because of the history that was passed down, and because of the grudge that they tend to have against certain people of a different shade of color.
Yeah, no, of course. But this is where it got really dark. Do you feel guilty about it at all, or feel bad about it?
No, why would you feel guilty about that? Because that's something that you know you didn't have anything to do with you. It might be
Ex
something that happened in the family, and not everyone knows how to handle it, effectively, which is why you might want to go to therapy to get those thoughts out and to communicate how you feel and learn techniques to cope and, be feel better about it. But, it's not something to be look at yourself and be like, oh, really? I mean, you might because of the situation, but you know, it it's gonna take a toll in some mental way, when you first find out, and then you cope with it. Just like, as we get older, we just kind of say, you know, F it for a lot of things. You're just like F it. Even if you aren't necessarily like that, you're just F it because that has to deal with a lot of thought processing. You're just like, I ain't trying to deal with that right now, so it's whatever.
Okay, so I had to reject that premise just a little bit, and because I'm sorry, to me, this may be a little insensitive. I'll just say it anyways. I'll say it like this: if you need to go to therapy about it, I think there's something really wrong with you. But this is just me. Because and you just said it and I agree. Like I had nothing to do with that. I didn't agree to that. I wasn't happy about it. I didn't go out and say, "Oh, well, do it." I'm not praising that. The only thing that I can say honestly is the fact of I'm not happy about it, but I can't be too mad because without that situation happening, a lot of us wouldn't be here. And like I said, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying this in a way of like it's a celebration or it was a good thing. It's not good. It's just a sad situation. But the question is, would you, and I'll ask you this directly, would you be willing to go to the past and right that wrong, knowing that it could wipe you, your family, and your entire lineage out?
No, because how would I right or wrong when technically speaking, at that time, we weren't considered individuals, even people.
Well,
I
it's
mean
not
that
even that.
even
No. I'm not. I'm gonna never
that
say
kind of
that.
goes to say like the people who did it, what they what they thought of
Yeah.
themselves,
Hold
secretly.
on. Okay, sorry. Okay, I don't know if I agree with that. Nah, I mean, there's still horrible human beings. I'm not going to sit there and say just because we were seen as less than people doesn't mean that
No,
they were
no,
right or
no. I'm
good.
not. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that that's the reason. I'm just saying like,
Yeah.
going into the history of it because I would I go back in the past? No.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because even though in this day and time, what we know and how we feel and what laws and what's legal and illegal, to say I'm going to take my laws, what I believe in and everything, and go back to a time where
Hold on.
I'm not,
Hold on. You're starting to move away from the topic. I want to kind of keep it on topic for a little bit because I'm going to lose my train of thought if we move on.
well, I was just saying that to go back in time with all of that and to say that I'm going to right or wrong when you get back there, it's kind of like saying, well, this was wrong and everybody else is looking at you, not everyone, but majority of people are like, that's not right, but that's not wrong because of this. And, I'm not saying that that's an excuse. I'm just saying that that's a way to look at it going into my answer saying, because I wouldn't want to disappear. I like my life and what I have, and it might be fucked up at sometimes, but you know, it's not something that I'm willing to just, you know, stop because of an incident that happened too long ago. And you know what? This is another way of thinking of it too. If you did go back and change some things for that one individual, then what about the next individual? That's going to happen to the next individual. And then the same situation might be the same at this point in time. If you can go back in time, would you change it? Okay, you've seen that person does it. It looks like it's domino effect until someone says, no, I'm not going to do that because, you know, I exist.
I mean, my whole entire point is basically just that I'm not gonna feel guilty about anything I wasn't a part of. I'm not happy about it. I didn't praise it. It wasn't my, it's not like I had a choice in the matter. I wasn't around there. Can I be mad about it? No, but am I happy about it? Not at all. I'm not here to sit there and solve a person, or even with my ancestors, solve that mofo of the crimes that they committed amongst one of my ancestors. Like, I'm not here to do that. That person is evil. I don't care what time you're in. You're an evil person. You did wrong. But to sit there and say I should feel guilty of something that somebody else did that I had nothing to do with, no, I'm not gonna feel guilty about it because it has nothing. Number one, like you said, I'm not willing to erase myself to stop a heinous act. Again, I'm not here to justify, but at the same time, like I said, I'm not here to praise. I'm not here to say I'm happy about it. I'm not the one who took place in that, nor am I saying I'm recommended, nor am I saying that, oh yeah, it's a good thing to happen. No, I'll be honest with you, it sucks. It definitely does suck. I mean, I don't know if it's true. Then like I said, this was just a conversation. I don't know if it was true. It does suck, but it's not something that I need to worry about because I had nothing to do with it. That was not me. That was not nobody I know. That was none of my loved ones. That was just some raggedy old person. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. A lot of people, I'm sure a lot of people that we know right now probably have some dark crap in their family and in their past. I bet money. Trust me, I know some dudes. I know some dudes who used to know murderers, you know? Well, I should say they used to be related to murderers.
Yeah, but I mean, that doesn't mean that that person would do it.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like, you know, I mean, for people who get upset about things like that, I understand if your family and you went through something similar, but you can't be mad at
Okay.
a person who's related to the person who did it.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like, yes, if you went through it and you went through something similar to right now, then I can understand that you may be more empathetic to that and may have more feelings. And yeah, I would say that's valid. But to apply that onto yourself with something that you weren't even alive, you weren't even your parents weren't even, your grandparents probably wasn't even a thought. Nobody even knew, like you weren't a thing. You know, you weren't even a sperm yet. You get what I'm saying? And to sit down and feel guilty on something that you had no control over, I think it's BS. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I mean, yes, if you went through the pain physically, then I get that you may feel pain. But at the end of the day, that has nothing to do with you. Now, if you're out here praising it and saying, yeah, I'm glad you did that, then okay, at that point, there's something wrong with you. But if you're saying, hey, this happened, I'm on this earth, there's probably a reason for me being here. Like I said, I'm not here saying I'm happy about it. I'm not here praising, like, oh, this was a great thing. But I can't be mad because without that heinous act happening, I wouldn't be on this planet. And I'm not willing to take out my entire family and my entire line to right one wrong. You know, I can't do it. The only thing I hope was back then is that that person, most likely they weren't, had to pay for their transgressions. You know, like I'm not here to. I don't care if I'm descended from this dude. I don't like what he did. You know, at all.
Sure.
You know, I wish it was done out of, you know, agreement and choice and love at least, you know, but it wasn't. But I'm not gonna sit here and dwell and be all mentally effed up and say I need to go see a therapist when I wasn't there. I can't.
No, but for some people, they just can't handle the thought of this actually happened and they're the result of it. You know, everyone has a different mental fortitude. You know, I like to think that we have a stronger mental fortitude. And then you might have an individual that's just like, you know, hey, I'm going through some shit right now because I just found out some shit in the family. You know, then
Yeah,
you hear
but
shit like that.
yeah, but if your mental fortitude is that weak that you're worrying about something that you had nothing to do with, yeah, you probably do need help, and that's probably not good.
Yeah.
Like
And I
you're
mean,
that mentally.
at that point, that's just a that you need to be able to have a technique where if you hear some, you know, for other people that are like, oh, you know, so and so passed away, and it's sad. You know, you understand, you feel sad that someone died, especially if it's like you knew them or someone you knew them and they feel a certain type of way. Now you're like, oh, that's sad because my friend feels bad, but at the same time, it's kind of like saying, You know, I don't know. Oh, dude, he had no effect on my life. I don't,
Yeah, like well,
and then you have some
I
people that
could
end
tell
up
you right
crying
now,
over news like that.
my fault, my fault,
No,
my
no, no,
fault.
that was it. I was just saying that some people end up crying over news like that, and they don't even know the person. They just hear that somebody died, and when I see that type of stuff, and I'm like, why is he? Why is she crying? Oh, they just found out that a family friend that they never met died, or a friend of his or her friend that knew that person died, and and it's different from saying like, oh, you're what's that word when you're not empathy, but when you can feel the feelings of other individuals, and that makes you feel what they feel. You know what
I
I'm
think that
talking
is,
about?
I think that might be empathy, or it's either empathy or sympathy. I'll look it up.
Yeah, it's something. It's
I think it's
something
empathy.
where some people just automatically have that emotional attach, and I can't say attachment, but be emotional where they're
Basically, yeah, it's empathy. Yeah, it's empathy. The ability to understand and share the feelings of another.
Oh, what'd you say?
It's empathy. The ability to understand and share the feelings of another. That's empathy.
Okay, well, you can understand it, but when you physically feel that emotion that your friend is feeling,
Oh, are you
and
talking about sympathy, which is more of a pity for another?
no, man, I don't know the word, but it's something similar to that. It's like for people who say that they're not psychic, but they have this connection, and that type of thing. But I forgot the specific word. Empathetic, empath.
Oh, an empath. Okay.
Yeah, yes, that's what I was thinking of. Like that. Like, would you consider people who are empaths to be people who have a weak mental fortitude because they can be easily swayed by others, or would you say that they have such a strong mental fortitude that they actually are able to connect with other people? Like, what would you think about that? That's a good question. I just now thought about that. I don't know what to think in that situation of the person who's feeling that. Like, are they strong enough to feel it, or are they weak enough to feel it?
I think it just depends on how you go about it. You said it best. If your homies, family friend, cousin, wound up passing away, and your homie didn't really know him like that, but they know, but like, man, I kind of feel bad. I'm sad that they're gone, and then you have like a freaking breakdown because like I could feel, yeah, you may, I'm just gonna say like, man, you need some toughening up. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because that's pretty bad if you breaking down like that. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll say like this: when it comes to more females, I don't really mind if a girl's a crier. That doesn't really bother me. Because there are some women out there that are criers and that just have a ability to cry a lot. That I don't know. I never had an issue with. I mean, I never really dealt with an issue like that. So, but I will say, like, if you're at the point where you're like breaking down over something that has nothing to do with you, then yeah. But at the same time, if you're talking about the opposite end, where like you're kind of in tune to how somebody else is feeling, and you could kind of you get it, you can kind of help navigate. Like you could bond with that person and talk to them on a deeper emotional thing to kind of help them get through it. Then that's very very different. That kind of does mean that you're strong because you could totally, it probably has to do with more like you're emotionally intelligent, so you're able to, help people through certain things. So at that point, it's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, yeah, okay, that's what I was gonna say. It doesn't have to do that. I don't think it has to do with strength, but I think it has to do with more emotional intelligence. Like you can actually, figure out why somebody's feeling this way and help them navigate through that. And so I think in that sense, it's good. I think there is some. I think there is some really good shit to that mindset, to like actually be able to empathize with people, and understand their feelings and be able to help them manage that and to, be there for them. I think that's a good thing. If you have that feeling that you relate, but to the point where you're falling apart, I think it's negative because at no point in time, like you should be falling apart over something that is like so far away from you and because you feel that thing, like seeing somebody on the street and something bad happened to them, then you just break down, cry like it happened to you. There's probably an issue with that. You're probably taking it too far.
Yeah, yeah. I can agree.
Mm.
I think that you said it perfectly well. You know, it is what it is, but I wouldn't change anything because I like being here. The only thing I would change though, if they said, well, if I knew something, they were like, well, you can go back in the past and change this so you won't exist at this point in time, but you'll exist in a later point in the future where the United States is
You
debt
basically
free
got
and
like playing
stable.
cards and stuff.
I would be like, all right, yeah, I'll go back in time. I'll shoot that son of a bitch. No. I'll get all southern and country all of a sudden.
But this is the thing. So let's say you did it. Let's say you do go back in time and you basically, stop that person, and then you're allowed to come back in like a different body or a different situation later in time. Could you honestly say that you would be you if that was to happen?
Could I pick the body in the time?
Huh?
Could I pick the body in the time?
I mean, for the sake of the argument, because that's not really the point I'm making, but sure, I'll say you could pick. I want to say, well, you said the future, so it has to be sometime in the future. But I guess you could pick the body. That's fine.
I'd say probably yes.
You think you'd be the same?
Probably
You think you would be exactly the same person if you were born later in life?
no, no, not unless I had the memories and the experiences that I have now that get transferred into that new body, regardless of the age. But if it's like a completely new, like I won't remember shit, then I would still do it. Like if they told me like you can pick the body in the time frame that you are going to be born into, but then after that you forget. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. Or if they said, well, you can go ahead and do that and you can pick the body and the time, but you would remember it. And I still say yes. Either way, to me, it would be a good outcome.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay.
What was that? What's that movie called? What's it? Heaven Can
Total
Wait?
Recall?
No, no, not Total Recall. Heaven Can't Wait. Heaven Can't Wait. What is it? Is it Heaven Can't Wait?
I don't know if it's Heaven Can Wait, but I know it's another one that's
Yeah, it is
different.
Heaven Can't Wait with Chris Rock. Yep, that one. No, Down to Earth. Down to
Oh
Earth. My
no,
fault.
that's
It's Down
Down
to
to
Earth.
Earth.
Down to
Yeah.
Earth. Down to Earth. My fault.
Yeah, where he knew because he died, but he knew, when he was in his body, but then he got put in another body at the end and he just forgot all, everything.
Yeah. He forgot and became somebody, and that's what I'm saying. Like, are you sure you want to do that? That's what I said because you'll never. Have I always thought about like being in like a fifth element? Because I mean, heck, if you don't know, I'm a Fifth Element is one of my favorite movies of all time.
I
But
like that movie.
oh, I love that movie. That's one of the few movies I watched time and time again. There's very few movies I rewatch. That's one of them. But like you said, doing what you do, go back in time, but then being born later at a later time. Like, could I say I'll beat myself? And I want to say, and that's scary. Probably say probably not. I don't think I would be because I won't have the experiences. I won't have the life. I won't live where I live. There's no way, like you said, unless I can implant my memories today into that new body, into that new person, so I can be who I am and just add on to who he is, then honestly, I'll never be that. I would never exactly be that same person.
No, I would be a different person, but
Yeah.
after thinking about the whole situation, the time that we're living in, at least to this point in everything, yeah, 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 I would be perfectly fine with that. You know, I would I'd still want to be like me in the sense of saying like black, but if they're like, well,
Well,
you
it's not
you
even
can't.
black. It's everything about you. Like you won't have the same parents. You won't have the same experiences. The other thing you gotta think about this too. 'Cause I mean, to me, I'm surprised you didn't think about it because it's deeper for you because you got a family.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah, I
Like,
do. So
yeah.
go ahead and
So,
erase my memory.
huh? What you say?
I said, yeah. So go ahead and erase my damn memory and do it right now.
Oh,
No, I love my family, but I'm just
um,
saying, like, if they were like, this is what you could, like, this is what you have right now, which is good, but they're like, if you go back and write that wrong, and then and then you're born in the future, then I mean, it's like saying, I know I have responsibilities now, and I'm doing the best I can to take care of them and do what I need to do. But if I don't exist, then my family also doesn't exist. So it's not like saying I'm leaving them destitute and poor. It's like,
Well,
well, this
hold on. I mean,
situation never
okay, hold on, hold on,
existed.
hold on. So sorry to stop you, but I'll play this game with you. No, let's
You'll,
say
you'll play this game with me. Okay.
yeah.
All right, go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
let's just say no. Let's just say that no, you do get to do that. But yes, like your family's not gone. Like your family's still here. You just go back in the past and you right the wrong. But then maybe your present self, like down to earth, you wind up passing.
Okay, so wait. So you're going to tell me that if I go back in time and change it, I still come back to this future, that the same future that I'm in, but there's an alternative universe where I did not exist, and that person then gets to be born in.
No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. What I said was that you go back in time and fix the past.
Okay.
But let's just say, okay, you know what? Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm not doing all that. Okay, hold on.
No, because if you
No,
say
no,
I
no,
go
no,
back
no,
and
no, no,
change
no,
it,
no, no, no,
but
hold
they're
on, hold
still
on, wait.
here,
No, the
that
reason why
means
I'm
that my
stopping you,
presence is still here.
no, by fault. The reason why I'm stopping you is because I don't want to go down this path, at least not because when you start going to multiverse, all this alternative like world stuff, it gets because even right now I could tell as we're talking, things are trying to get confusing.
Well, look, I'm just following your map. So if I
Well,
were
you
back
didn't
in
really follow my
time,
map,
I
but
did. You said my family would still be here. So that would need to mean that regardless of me disappearing, of like me not even being born, they're still here. So that
no,
means that I
no, no,
still
no,
would
no,
have
no,
had.
no, no. Okay, yeah. You missed. Okay, fine. I'll go. I'll keep going with it. No, you missed the premise. What I said was because this whole the reason why I brought this up because you said if my family wasn't left destitute, right? That's what you said. So
Yeah,
I said,
because
I'll play this game. So what if that's the thing though? Like you
what
were
if it's
born.
a thing?
Hold on, wait. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to the whole entire thing. So yes, you were born, but you get a chance to go back and like change the past, but to basically fix that past and to make sure things work out right, which I see now how this is getting very complicated. I'm basically talking myself into a hole, but I'm gonna rock with it. But basically, you go back in time, you go ahead and fix that past, and you're born at a later time. But because your family was meant to be here, you had to live, you had to have your kids. So the only way to correct that you wind up having to, you have to die.
Okay,
But you come. So it's basically reincarnation, is basically what it is. Basically, what I'm
so
talking about right now is
basically,
reincarnation.
I think I get what you mean. So
Yeah,
now so what you're saying is that at the point that I go back in time, like
yeah,
right, if I were to go back right now and fix it, and I come back at some point, whether immediately or within a time frame in the future, like a year or two, I
yeah.
pass away, and then from that point, I get reborn, and you know what, and what I basically the time and the family that I choose,
I don't know. You kind of lost
right?
me at the end.
Oh, but I was saying that so basically, it's still the same thing. I would still pass away when I came back either immediately or within like a 2 year period, something like let's just say somewhere in
Well, no, no,
between.
no, 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 no. The thing is, for you to change the past, you had because the thing is that your kids have to be born.
Okay, so yeah, so they're born,
Yeah.
but
So you have to
I
be here.
die.
Yes, you're gonna have to die to kind of like you have to correct things.
So do I die like because if I went and did that, it'd be like right now. Like
Yeah,
since we're in this
at
time
the
and period.
at the end of the day, no matter when you die, you have to die at the point of your last child being born.
Oh, so it would just be rewinded back to last year,
Well,
for
it doesn't
example.
matter. It doesn't matter. Anytime after because your kids have to be born.
Okay, so if I did have a future child, right?
So like
Then I would
if you're
die
meant to
when
have a
that.
future child, you can't die yet because
Okay,
you
so
still have
I
more
get
children.
that. I get that. So then at that point, but I already know what's going to happen, right? Or is it like, well, shit
We're
may
given an
happen.
ultimatum. You're given an ultimatum. You could change the past, but you want to but your present goes away. But you're reborn back. You're reborn
Oh,
in the
gee, give me
future.
one moment.
I just want to sit there and say, okay, I want to make this point why Adam's away, so y'all understand. This is why you don't do multiverse alternate dimension stories. Because when you do stories and do stuff like this, it can get very confusing, really, really bad. if you don't know what the hell you're doing, and you're not paying,
Hello?
and you're
Can you hear
not
me?
paying attention, yeah, I hear you, and you're not paying attention to what you're doing,
Oh,
you're
okay,
going
okay.
to wind up having a bunch of issues. All right, my fault. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying I'm back.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So I know I was just explaining to people why doing multiversal, like alternate dimension and multiversal and even time travel story. When time travel you're okay with, why you have to be careful with doing them, because even right now it's getting really confusing.
Well, I'm fine with it. I just didn't know like I would die.
Yeah,
Like
no,
if
no, no.
you said you're
I
going
know
to
you're
die.
fine with it. I may have to move the conversation a little bit, but no, it's not about being fine with it. It's basically what I was explaining to the audience or the listeners who's listening to this podcast is that this is why multiversal alternate dimension storylines suck and why they're so fucking hard. And why I have a thing of, if you're going to write a story like this, if anybody wants to become a writer in the future, any of y'all future writers who listen to this podcast, you need to be very careful when you write multiversal, time travel, alternative dimension, different universe stories, because they can get very convoluted, very complicated, very fast, and you may lose your way, and you may wind up writing yourself into a hole. Because even doing this has overcomplicated the situation and didn't need to be this complicated. And I did that. So if you don't know what the hell you're doing, do not do stories like this, because you could mess up everything and you won't be able to get out of it. It's a very hard thing to navigate through. But that's what I was saying.
I'm just creating a time machine. At that point, it's kind of like the time machine. Remember the movie The Time Machine, where he went back to try and save his wife from dying, and she just kept dying in different ways,
Yes.
over and over and over. Okay, so if I were to do that, right? Let's just say I go into the past, change it, come back, and I die, right? And I know I'm going to die. What if I just made a time machine?
Once again, this goes back to what I said. This is why you need to be careful with doing time travel, multiversal.
I'm just saying.
I'll just
I'm
say,
just saying shit to
because
be
you see
devil's
how it's getting
advocate.
super. Just this conversation right here, and this was my fault. You see how complicated this shit is going.
It is your
Now
fault.
you're
You
adding in
opened up
time
this
travel
Pandora's
machine.
box.
Now you're going to add in the phone booth from Bill and Ted, which that kind of shows
I
my age.
was. And then the next thing you know, I'm going to add Death Note in there too.
Exactly. This is why I say, if you're ever going to do, this is my issue, and I'm going to change topics a little bit, but this is my issue when people do multiversal, interdimension, time travel fucking stories, and they don't know what the hell they're doing. They fuck shit up.
Oh,
I hate stories like that, because if you don't, because most people, when they do them, especially like I've been watching those today, they tend to fuck these stories up. These stories are hard to do because it's easy to lose track of what you're doing. And if you don't really have a solid guideline to do this kind of stuff, you run into these holes every fucking time. That's why I hate that shit. And two, it is a cheap way to get out of the shit that you put yourself in. That's the reason why I hate these two kinds of stories. I hate I mean, don't get me wrong. I love them when you know what you're doing and the story is like that. So like the one that you were talking about his wife always dying, which that also goes into a question of destiny, you know? Like no matter what you do, you know, she's just meant to die. You could go in and that's kind of what, that's kind of the theme I was saying, where no matter what, your kids have to have, you could be revived, but your kids have to be on this earth, no matter what.
Okay. Well, I would find a way to fuck up the time stream, because let's just say, for the sake of saying, I don't give a fuck. Take that one fuck.
What'd you say? You say you don't give a fuck?
Yeah, what if I said I didn't give a fuck? And I was like, I'll fuck up the time stream and whatever.
Well, then you lost the entire plot. You lost the entire plot of the whole entire reason that why we were having this conversation.
Well, I mean, like, look, I fix it and then I say fuck it.
We didn't even finish the first plot that we were going down, so you didn't fix shit. It's just a convoluted mess at this point.
It. We went back in time, we killed the person, came back, found out what the fuck is going to happen, said fuck it, and then just decided to say, all right, fuck the world, and make sure that you and your family and close friends were okay.
That doesn't make any sense with the premise.
It does make sense.
The premise, okay.
I was given power to go fix the mistake. Then I took advantage of that power and said fuck everything and destroyed it, except for the few people I love.
But that's not what was stated at all.
No, that's not
what
what we
I
said.
said.
That's
This
what
is
happened.
what I said. This is what I said. And I know what the hell you're doing too. This is what I said.
Okay.
I said, no matter what, your kids have to be born. So no matter what time no matter when you go back in the past, your kids have to be here. So
What
once
if I
you
was
do
just
that, you go
pushing
back in the
having that
past, you
last
right the
kid
wrong,
for
but you
what if I
have
was
to.
pushing? What if
What's
I was
up?
pushing? What if I was pushing to not have that last kid until years later?
You said you were what? You were pushing?
What if I pushed to not have that kid until years later?
Oh my God, I don't even know what the fuck we're going with this.
Dude, hey, look, I found out they're like, well, you're going to have a kid in a year, and I'm like, okay, so if I put a condom on and I wait 5 years from that point and be like, I'm going to have a kid, then will I extend my life?
Oh, I don't even want to continue this conversation at all. Oh, why did I fucked up. That's my fault.
You didn't fuck up. You just didn't think about that.
No, I realized as I was trying to go through the story, I realized while talking to you, I started fucking up because what you said at the beginning does make sense. Where it's like you go back to the past because you're right. Your family wouldn't be here if you would have killed that person and you would have right that wrong. So you would just be born in a future place and nobody. So that would make more sense. When I added in the factor of your kids will be born and then you die and all, it started overcomplicating the situation.
It's not overcomplicating anything, man. I beat the system.
Okay, so at the end of the day because the whole entire point of this conversation was you said as long as you leave your kids destitute. What I'm saying is by you doing what you did, you probably was going to leave your family by themselves to fend for themselves while you go out there and try to fix the past. And then you're born in the future and your family is now left alive to live life without you.
No. See, if I have the power to go to the past, I'll go to the past and I'll fix that mistake. I'll rob that place and probably a couple more banks. Come to the future with old bills and money.
You can't come to the future because the entire
I'm back to where I was though. Like
you did. That's not the point.
That is the point. Well,
no,
actually,
oh
no.
my
Let me
you
fix
can't
it.
follow
You did not give me limitations, and that's
your
your fault because you didn't give me any limitations. So whose fault is it now?
Oh my God. Oh,
Okay,
can we please move on from this topic?
What is happening?
That's why I'm trying to move away. I want to move away from this topic.
You can't move away from this topic, man, because it was.
I mean, but that doesn't. Okay, hold on.
Wait, before you go, what up, Keith?
When, hold on. Let me ask something. Let me just ask you this real quick.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying, everything we know about time travel has limits. So you saying that there's no limits is just asinine. Show me one instant where that it worked out 100% that person's way. Like every time travel thing has limits. So you saying that you didn't give me any limits, automatically there's limits on time travel on what you can and cannot do. And because it affects your future. Now, which time travel you believe in, whether it changes your past or your future becomes your past or your past becomes your future. Like, I mean, I don't feel like that means it just depends on which time travels to the scenario we're talking about. But I mean, I don't know how this started, but
so I'll explain to you because I fucked it up. This is totally my fault. I fucked up. This is my fault.
All right.
I'll explain to you what
catch
happened.
you up to speed, and I'll tell you what I said after he catches you up to speed.
Okay, yeah, because this is my fault. I fucked up. So basically, this whole entire conversation, which you weren't here for, was this started with that there's a good chance that our ancestors, there's a possibility that a lot of us Black folks were descended from people who were doing very heinous stuff to one of our ancestors. That is a possibility.
Why did we get on this conversation?
Well, this was
This sounds okay. Okay.
So, so
I
that's
don't
what.
even know why. Okay, keep going. Jesus Christ.
So
I
that's
don't
where
even
all
know.
this started. This started
I'm on the
with
phone.
that notion of like,
Oh my God.
yeah. So that's where all this started. So we went from there to being like, okay, what if we go out and like, we go out and you kill this person, and then Adam says, you go to the future. But what stopped me was when he said, as long as I don't leave my kids destitute. And then I said, okay, let me play this game. And this is where I fucked up. Where I fucked up, and I just broke my
It's when
entire
you
story.
played
I
the
started
game.
realizing it. Is I said was, what if you go back in time, but your kids are still alive? And I realized that doesn't make any fucking sense. And then Adam wouldn't fucking stop and started making it way more complicated.
Because
You said, wait,
I said that. I
wait,
said it
what?
wasn't going to be possible. But you
My
said,
point,
well,
I fucked up.
no, wait. Okay, so yes, he did say that. But then I thought about that. But he said, well, what if you had a down to earth situation?
Well, no.
Down to
I was
earth.
saying if it was like a
Okay.
down to earth situation.
With Chris Rock,
Yes.
Yeah.
where he went into the white guy's body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Okay, so it wasn't more so like I would go into a white person's body, but it was
I
more
was
so
about
like
to say, bro, like,
it was more so like I was if I went back in time and I fixed that and I came back but instead of me not existing, I still existed, okay? But I was going to die after I had my last child because my regular life had to continue the way it was going to continue. So
No,
after I had my
incorrect.
last child,
Incorrect. No. Your life, you had to stay alive long enough to have your last child, no matter what.
yes. So for me, as I was saying, like right now, I, as far as the future, I believe I won't have any more, but I only have 4. So I had my last child last year. So I would have died sometime last year if I would
Any
have took
point
the
in time
deal.
after you had your last child.
Yeah, but if I don't know my future and I'm supposed to have another kid or so, then I would die after that kid was born. And then this is when things and okay, before I say things got complicated and I started playing the game with G, it was supposed to go instead of you dying just being dead, you would die, but then you would get placed in a body of another person in another time period, the time period of your choosing, but the person maybe was random, right? You had a little bit of say so, but it was like you don't know. It's just like this person, maybe a good family, but it'd be like a random person you had no idea.
Basically, it's reincarnate. So you reincarnated into the future.
Yeah. So then I started playing around with G, and I said, well, what if I said instead of like when I was supposed to have my last child, I don't know from when, but I was supposed to have one, right? So let's say I was supposed to have one next year. So instead of doing that, right, I put on a condom and said, fuck it, and I'm going to wait 5 more years, right? What if I played that game? Or what if I went back in time, killed the person, robbed a bank, robbed him, took all the notes and money, brought it back to the future to where it's worth a lot more money because it's old money, and gave it to my family, and then I died, and then I got was born again in another body or so, right? So then I started playing that game, and then I said, well, what if I just said fuck everything, and I decided that whoever gave me this power of time travel really fucked up. So now I'm going back in the past to kill everybody, to kill that person, come back, not die, but decide to play around with time, but make sure that my family and friends were okay, but basically said fuck everybody else and fucked up the whole time continuum and did some weird ass shit.
And that is at the point where I explained to the audience, this is why you have to be careful when you do these kind of stories. And I had to apologize at the fucking bullshit that I just sent them through.
Look, I know what I was doing. That's why I'm doing it. That's why I'm playing around with time, because now I'm having fun. And no one can stop me because now I have the power of time and I just go back and erase your ass. So I'm going to continue playing with time. Time is my plaything at this point in time. I'm
okay,
gonna buy a
good,
time gun too, and I'm going to be able to shoot a bullet and you don't know where the fuck it's gonna hit, but it's gonna hit you at some point in the past or the future.
Too much. This is too much. I get it. Just pure tomfuckery. Okay. Okay.
I've been trying to move ahead this entire
You
time.
did it. I tried. Look,
Thank
before
you
this whole thing got out of whack, I tried to say. I tried to say
This is
so
my
I
fault.
wouldn't exist anymore. I
This is all
tried
my fault.
to say that.
Ugh.
time travel.
Yeah, I fucked up. 110% my fault.
120%. It's your fault I'm playing with time, and it's your fault that I have a time gun.
Like I said, Keith, if you can figure out this mess, dude, I got $20 for you.
No,
That you
I'm
probably will never.
good. I'm good. I'm good. I don't want you to keep your
Have
fucking
you guys
money.
ever played? Have you guys ever played the game Enter the Gungeon? Or have you guys ever heard of it? Yeah, yeah.
Not this
So it's
little
like
prairie dog.
so it's like that. I get a hold of a time gun, but instead of like one bullet, it's like unlimited bullets. And instead of having it where it shoots me, I just shoot everybody else. Because with the power of time, all is possible.
Once again, I'd like to
Lord
apologize.
Almighty.
This is totally
I
my fault.
apologize for nothing. I
Lord
apologize for everybody else in the audience for not having enough imagination to live their dreams and do what they want.
Oh no, I have an imagination.
As a matter of fact, G, you know what? I would do one even better. At that point where I had control of time, I would change my name. Do you know what I would be called?
Vito.
What?
Vito.
No, but I kind of like that name. Keep going.
Captain Hufflepuff. Fucking Jesus Christ. Captain moves the fuck on in this conversation. Jesus fucking
I
Christ.
would be named what's that guy's name from Ant-Man Quantum Universe?
No, nobody watched that shit, so we can move on.
Nobody did. Look, that's the only Ant-Man I actually even watched.
I watched it.
That's the only Ant-Man I watched.
I mean, it's useless now. I mean,
it is. You know what? But you know what?
A lot of that shit's useless.
Yeah.
Because niggas can't stop fucking with crazy ass white women. Yeah.
Hey-o.